the NPF doesn't fund itself. The NPF is funded by you. The NPF is funded by your government. The NPF is funded by the people of this country. So, and incidentally, fortunately or unfortunately so, the Nigerian police, just like the Nigerian military, by law, can't unionize. We don't belong to NLC. We don't belong to any trade union or trade organizations. We can't picket. We can't be seen to be carrying placard and demanding for either wage increases, demanding for immediate provision of certain equipment. So we must work quietly, tirelessly, under the rain, under the sun, under pain, no matter, under whatever
Correct. But
condition.
But perhaps a significant part of this methodology to the appropriation of the bill that you've left out is the fact that you suggest, right, the Nigerian Police Force comes together and says, these are our expenditures for the year. Then you take it to either the budget office, who then presents it to the National Assembly, the debate goes on, and they then go ahead and appropriate what they feel.
I return it back to you.
Okay.
Your PA will, at the end of the day, make recommendations as to what he or she needs to function effectively. And this PA of yours, this very loyal and dutiful PA of yours, passes this bill to you, or these recommendations, or these proposals to you. And then, Osasu, you are the one that will eventually think and say, okay, item 1 can go, item 2 can go, item 3 no, item 4 no, item 5 no. And your PA can only grumble. The most he or she can do is return to you and say, hi, madam, I still think I need item 3, 4, 5 to be efficient. But you still hold the ace.
Perfect. I'm so glad we've established the premise. Now we can start the real conversation. You've shifted the blame to the National Assembly, which are constitutionally giving the power to appropriate, to move things around, although that has been a bone of contention for some time. So given the fact that the lawmakers now, you've proposed a budget to them, the lawmakers go about, oh no, we don't think this is necessary, we think this is necessary, and 91% of your budget has now gone to paying salaries. What is the next step? What can the Nigerian people do to ensure that you have the adequate funding, adequate equipment to quell these rising insecurity in the country?
I also want to correct something. I'm not just putting the blame squarely at the foot of the National Assembly. I'm putting the blame squarely. I'm throwing it back squarely to the people of Nigeria. Because whether you're in the National Assembly, whether you're the president, whether you're the governor, at the end of the day, you are elected by the people. And we need Nigerians to set the legislative agenda for our lawmakers. We need to have a conscious citizenry that will be able to set priorities for our lawmakers and say, hey, security is uppermost in our mind. We want you to pay very special attention to the funding of the police and other agencies. But having said all this, I still want to believe that there are some innovations, there are some rays of hope we are seeing. For example, the Police Trust Fund law that we are beginning to put measures in place to implement. We believe that the Police Trust Fund, when it eventually comes into existence, will provide some source of intervention funds that could also help intervention extra budgetary funds. That I think that should be the right way to describe that kind of funding that will help to fill in the bridge these deficits in budgetary funding of the police. And we believe that probably before the middle of this year, that the police trust fund will become fully functional, and that will help to ease off some of the challenges.
When we talk about this budgetary deficits, I wonder, the president came into office campaigning that security was one of the core areas that he would focus on, as well as fighting corruption and reviving the economy. And when I hear you speak about the huge budgetary deficit that the Nigerian Police Force is facing today, I wonder how serious he is in enacting that promise and delivering these dividends of democracy to the Nigerian people.
Again, I wouldn't want you to take me out of the core areas of crime fighting into core areas of policy issues, political issues.
Because as you've said, policy is at the core.
No. Mm-hmm. I am a crime fighter. My job is out there, hit the bad guys, get them out of the streets, send them to jail, make it impossible for them to operate on the street, and keep my people safe, keep Nigerians safe, keep their property safe, keep their lives protected.
And unfortunately...
And there are other persons whose responsibility or whose responsibilities are to deal with some of these issues that you are throwing up. And we must stick to our core callings in order for us not to stray. And so I'm staying on my core calling, and I won't allow you to get me.
The reason I mention this is because it affects you. So the policy issues, the lack of, budgetary provisions, which are caused by, the National Assembly and also the spearheading of the direction of the president, is causing you to be inefficient in your job. People are dying every day. You're not able to keep houses safe. You're not able to keep the Nigerian citizens safe. So you cannot carry out your duties without talking about this policy issue.
Yes, I can talk about them. But again, like I've said repeatedly in some other fora, sometimes police officers, not just in Nigeria, we are like medical doctors. Sometimes we are compelled by our calling to treat symptoms because we are not equipped, we are not constitutionally empowered to treat the causal germs. But eventually, we don't have the power to engage in some of the needed social intervention programs that could help to nib or tackle these challenges from the roots. We must work collectively, collaboratively to deal with these challenges. But we will continue to take the charge and the lead in the field.
Awesome. I love that sentence. We must work collectively, collaboratively to deal with these challenges. So away from the social, political, policy issues that we're dealing. So to round up, we've seen sort of a breakdown in relationship over the past few years within the military and the police. And it seemed to us that the military started to do the job of the police force. Can you speak to that? Do you believe if there was a more synergized relationship, we'll be able to curtail crime faster and more efficiently?